Music Matters. We Shrunk. How we doing, guys?
Fantastic.
Hi, Dante.
Thanks for doing this. Good to see y'all as always.
Yes.
The tiniest band we've ever done. We Shrunk.
Tiniest band in the world.
That'd be a good tagline for sure.
I know, right?
We Shrunk, the tiniest band in the world.
Tiniest band you've never heard of.
Yeah. Not in size, just in scope.
Just in scope.
That would be tough too. But thank you guys for doing this. Been a fan of both your guys' stuff individually for a while, and then found out about the duo project. Did a show with y'all, I guess, like
in the spring,
some point in the spring, late spring, I believe. Yeah. And yeah, I've been a fan of the last EP ever since. Very excited for the new one. Was very lucky to get a chance to listen through it, and blew my mind. It's an incredible project. But how are you guys kind of feeling leading up to the project release? It's October 10th, correct?
That's right.
Cool.
October 10th, yeah.
We're doing a release show on the same day, so
nice.
It's like all coming together.
All at once, yeah. Does it feel different releasing music under this project than your respective solo projects or any of the things that you guys work on? Is there a different kind of like, not asterisk, but just different tone to the way that it feels? Because it's like a duo project. I would say it's closer in sound to some of the solo stuff you guys do as well. Mm-hmm. How does it feel kind of releasing music under the solo projects or other projects you guys are in versus this one? What are the biggest differences? What makes this one different?
Well, I think it definitely takes a load off for me having Brooke around, because she does all the hard work.
What does that mean?
Well, she'll post on social media, and that's mainly what it is. Yeah. She'll do the actual rollout stuff.
Send out.
I just record and write with her.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of nice.
And so if I'm releasing music, I feel like some responsibility, whether or not I follow through with it, to do my own promotion and blah blah blah. And I don't really think about it that much with this project.
It's kind of, for me, it's like teamwork makes the dream work, and I love.
Could you move the mic up a bit? Sorry.
Yeah,
thanks.
perfect. No,
Amazing.
I love having just like someone else to do it with me, or to talk about rolling stuff out when we're gonna do it. This is our first release. We're releasing through Symbol Group Records, which is
I was curious about that.
A really small kind of like DIY label, and they gave us a little money to help support the EP, which is nice and a first for us. And they're gonna run cassettes for us too.
Whoa!
So
okay.
we had physical media for the last EP. We had cassettes as well that we just did independently. But it's nice to have that, because for my solo project, I haven't done any physical media yet. So we have like cassettes coming, and just it's easier to be. It feels like it's easier to put the band together, because we already have two of us. For live stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it also feels like your guys' genre feels like it would lend itself to physical media in a very cool way. I'm not sure why, but I just feel like it does. I don't know. But I kind of going off what you were saying, I would imagine too, like, having a band dynamic with like 4 or 5 people is a very like multifaceted and stressful and difficult thing. There's a lot of communication that needs to go on. Like, if you have a band with 5 people, like, it's funny. I have a friend who's a manager, and he loves band music, but he never signs bands. He only signs like solo artists. And I asked him why once, and he was like, "Well, because bands break up." And I was like, "That's it's very true." And I feel like when you have like 4 or 5 personalities working in the confines of one group, that there's so many egos there you have to deal with, so many different creative styles and choices and things. I would imagine as a duo, it's easier to kind of cut through it exactly how you guys want to sound. Do you feel that way?
I do. I definitely think that, it's been a new experience because we co-write everything together. Yeah. Almost, but it was a real dream for me to have Pierce. We kind of had this agreement. We're like, or you record the music and I'll help put it out, and then we write it all together. So kind of use both of what we're good at.
Yeah, I've never truly been in a band with 4 people or 5 people. I have a band with my friend Fletcher, who you guys know, called Lonely Pirate Committee, and we're a band kind of, but we're like we're a duo, like We Shrunk, but then we have other people play with us. But even as far as that goes, we don't even really make music together for that project either. So all of that to say is like, and then I have solo stuff which I do alone. So I've never had 4 people to deal with. That sounds like impossible, unless you guys have been, unless there's like a band you've been doing it or you've been homies with forever. Yeah, it seems like you can maneuver that. But
we do have a rotating kind of live band right now. Our good friend Ben playing bass, but he's unavailable for the next show. So we got one of Pierce's friends from Berkeley,
Will.
right?
Yeah,
Will Davila.
And Jacob used to play bass in our band.
What?
That was like our OG bass player.
Crazy lore. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I met Jacob in line at a Make Out Music show, and we were talking. And
what show?
It was Estelle Allen. Yeah.
Oh, because he used to live with Estelle.
Yes.
Shout
and
out
ended
Estelle.
up going up on stage and playing acoustic with this,
Sorry to cut you off. Have you heard of Florida the Man?
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
Classic.
It's crazy.
Shout out to Florida the Man. That's a deep cut that no one is going to know what the fuck that is.
But Jacob, if you're listening.
But Jacob will, yeah.
And yeah, that was really exciting. I was looking for someone to play bass in any of my projects, and I was like, I just knew that him and Pierce would get along and connect creatively, and they have now such a deep friendship, and Pierce is playing pedal steel and Deloitte Elsie, so
yeah,
it's kind of full circle.
I met him at our first band practice.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy way to meet somebody, because you have no prior perception of them other than their musicality. It's like their musicianship almost defines them.
Brooke was just like, you'll like him, and I'm like, that sounds good.
He's a hard guy not to like.
Yeah.
Probably impossible not to like.
Yeah,
honestly.
he's one of the most likable dudes ever. Yeah, I would imagine that's really cool. You've only ever played really in like duos in terms of bands.
Yeah, either alone or with a duo.
Yeah.
Or as far as the creative part goes, two or less people.
Interestingly, like, I mean, I could see how that would work for you, because you are a multi-instrumentalist. Like, it was so crazy to me the other night when, like, Tim was like, Dante, go listen outside and see how the drums sounded here, and just how good of a drummer you were, just like off rip. I was like, what the fuck?
But he's never playing drums, except for, I mean, we record stuff, but I'm always itching for him to play drums more.
Drums suck to play because you gotta carry all that shit.
100%.
But not, I mean, I don't know, not too much. Now we just bring breakables, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, where I was going with that was I was curious. Only being in like duo projects, has that been easier because you're a multi-instrumentalist as well as an engineer and a producer, or was that kind of skills that you learned out of necessity? Did you kind of have to learn all these different things, wear all these different hats because you were always in duos? Do you feel like those things are connected?
I think that I just wanted to learn every instrument from when I started. Like, it wasn't because I like had to. I like started, my dad was saying he plays drums, so he set up his drums and I got into that when I was like a baby. Like, I was like barely walking, because I was just like, this is cool, like it's loud and fun. And so I did that, and then I wanted a bass. Before guitar, I wanted to play bass because I thought Crazy Train was sick. Rest in peace, Ozzy.
Rest in peace, Ozzy.
So I got a bass, and then my brother played guitar, like acoustic, a little like classical guitar. So I picked that up. It was laying around the house. Started doing that. My like babysitter taught me some chords or some shit. And then I don't know. I just like wanted to learn everything, and like going back to my other band, which we don't need to talk about too much because this is our band we're talking about. But anyway,
we can talk about everything.
We can talk about anything.
Basically, like, we met when we were like little kids too, like 8 or 9, something like that. And Fletcher like had Ableton when he was like 8 years old, which was like hilarious. And his guitar.
That's a crazy image in my brain. Fletcher as a small child on Ableton.
Yeah, his guitar teacher gave him, or like sold him for super cheap, like his laptop, a 16 channel like mixer, which I still record on to this day. And
damn, that's crazy.
And just taught him how to use it. And so I went over to his house when we met, and I was like, we can record ourselves? Like, what? That's crazy. So I was really excited about that. And then I was like, I wanted to learn about that. So I don't know, as far as like a necessity, like I just kind of wanted to. And I think that I'm kind of stubborn creatively. And I think we both are a little bit.
As am I.
In our own way.
But so I never wanted to involve too many people. Like, I kind of wanted to just like, I have an idea. If I let other people do it, like, it's going to kind of be further from the idea And I was pretty anti-collaboration for a long time.
That's really fascinating. Do you think you had because that's honestly, at least from a young age, that's kind of a very self-aware thought. I mean, whether it's self-aware for a good reason or a bad reason, that's a whole other conversation, I guess. But to be like, I'm stubborn creatively, therefore I do not want a lot of other people in my process. That's a very like, I think you gotta kind of have a lot of foresight to even like see that within yourself. Maybe. Like, do you feel like, was that like a conscious acknowledgement where you were like, I don't think I really want to do like the big band thing because I just want to do what I like?
I mean, I think that, I don't know. I had an idea and I wanted to get the idea done. And if it didn't, it would not have gotten done the way that I heard it in my head or the way I saw it if I didn't do everything on it. Yeah. And I guess that's all it is. Yeah.
What's nice about Pierce being, a multi-instrumentalist and a producer, I think it works really well for just our dynamic and the skill set that he brings that I was looking for in a collaborator. And I love a challenge. So it's really fun writing together where he can still have a lot of that freedom in the production space or in the drums or bass. Where we're mainly collaborating on lyrics and guitar. But I love his, I guess, taste and choices on drums and bass and production. So I think he has that freedom in this duo project while still challenging to be in a band and what that is really like and feels like.
That's super interesting because it sounds like you definitely feel more like an instrumentalist producer. And Brooke, do you feel more like a songwriter, like a singer-songwriter? Because I know you also have a big background and like you play a bunch of different instruments and things like that. And not to discredit you as an instrumentalist or producer at all, but do you feel like you resonate more with the singer-songwriter side of things or the production instrumentalism side of things? And do you feel like, because it would make sense that you guys kind of like, two sides of the same coin.
Yes, I think we complement each other really well. And we started this project, we had met, and I think there was a lot of creative and maybe emotional chemistry, and I didn't want to work on my solo music with him just yet at that moment because I think we had this connection and it felt like I wanted to keep those spaces separate. So we actually, the first sessions we ever had or worked together were We Shrunk. It became this project.
Was the name always We Shrunk?
I think we came up with it. Well, when we decided we were going to put it out,
that's when we came up with the name.
I think we just were like saying a bunch of bullshit, rapid fire, dumb stuff, and then we came back to it.
But pulling the point of this music being more extrinsic versus intrinsic, which is very much our solo projects, that's kind of like minimizing ego, getting small.
You said extrinsic versus intrinsic,
yes,
meaning that it's like almost like an effort to not like do a bunch of self-exploration and get too deep with it, and more so just put out things that you like sonically?
More about the collective experience and grander themes in life versus like pinpointed solo experiences. My last EP, which Pierce helped me produce for my solo project that we had an awesome interview about in the spring, is really much exploring my personal experience with like moving on from things and change, with very specific stories like mixed into that. Basil is also here, our dog we are watching this weekend, the mascot. Honestly, we have a lyric about Basil.
Basil plays bass sometimes in the band too.
Basil plays bass, and we have this line in Simplicity, which is a single off the new EP. Basil leaves, like she loves to be.
No way, that's a Basil reference.
It's a Basil reference and talking about food as well, because we were talking about cooking in the kitchen. Basil leaves. She always does. She loves to be Simplicity.
Oh, wow, that's crazy, because I literally pinpointed that lyric, but I had no idea it was about the dog.
Now you know.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, I want to expand on that more, the extrinsic versus intrinsic. That's very interesting to me, because I think it actually takes a lot of, like, I guess, maturity as a musician, and also a lot of discipline to take a step back and like consciously say that I don't want to explore the maximalism in everything. I instead want to, kind of focus on, or am I understanding that correctly? Was it more of a maximalism versus minimalism thing, or was it more of like a like in terms of themes you wanted to explore things that were just more generally related to life opposed to your own lives?
I mean, I think it gets like exhausting just always talking about yourself. So
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like
when I think though about specific examples from the new project, we just put out a single scarecrow, and I had this idea or this visual where I felt like a scarecrow in my life, kind of scaring my friends away because I had this deep, like this dark, I don't know, thing. And I brought the idea to Pierce, and he's like, how can we make this more expansive or broader, or include like my perspective, which is that it's okay that you have this darkness. You don't have to be scared of it because I support you and am here for you in either way. So turning it into something maybe more, positive or explorative in a broader sense.
Yeah, like we still say like I and we and you and those words, but it's not necessarily like Brooke will write a song and bring it to me and it'll be about some extreme pain that she's feeling in her heart that I have to, that I might not relate to, but then we do it. It's kind of like
we have to both feel.
Yeah, it has to both it has to resonate with both of us, which inherently, that's why collaboration is so interesting. Cause like, if we can't both find something really meaningful in it, then it's not really gonna. Neither of us will want to sing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's super interesting too. Like, cause that also kind of like is a question in like the solo dynamic versus the band dynamic. You know, in an interesting way. Like I think, like, I would imagine most, at least, like I think the majority of the songwriters I've talked to, like I would imagine the majority of their knee-jerk writing sense goes to writing in first person. That's just how we're wired, I think, as people. Is like we obviously are sharing our experience because we understand it more than anybody else's experience. I mean, some people might then use their own personal experience to expand on other topics and stuff. But I think it actually, like, do you guys feel like your knee-jerk reaction is to write about the world and things you're experiencing, or like the world and things outside of you, or things that you're experiencing in your life and your emotions and your kind of perspective on those things?
I think it's impossible to not like include our perspective, but when we come into writing for this project, we sit down together and usually start from that day or what we're experiencing and how it can be processed beyond just our feelings, like how we can both connect and how maybe other people can as well. And I think that it's really fun to write that way because we're writing songs I would never write on my own. And because we're both stubborn creatively, we do have to find compromise and meet in the middle, even if it's like a lyric or Pierce is like, I want to change, this chord progression. I'm like, okay, just working to find the balance in between. But it's given me some of my favorite music that I've been part of, which is really special.
Yeah. How's that changed throughout time? That kind of push and pull of like, we're going to compromise here, but like, if Brooke brings a song, sometimes it's like she wants these things, or Pierce brings a song, someone is like he wants these things. How have you kind of learned to navigate that space where there's that push and the pull and the compromise?
I'll let you answer it, but the EP, like the title of the EP might have something to do with that.
I'll let you explain that because I'm not going to understand what you're going for.
Well, the EP's called End of the Beginning.
Yeah.
And so I think it marked a change in our relationship as well as the music.
Well, there's certain things that we do differently musically. I think Brooke has an affinity, or just she gravitates towards like slower tempos,
totally
longer, like soaring melodies and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
But also Brooke likes using a lot of words. She likes to communicate in detail.
I am definitely a songwriter first, like you were mentioning. I resonate with that a lot and am growing my musical skill set beyond that just every day as much as I can. Yeah. Because writing's the most natural thing for me.
Yeah, I think the biggest maybe like pushback from me is like not really I feel like the biggest pushback for me might be trying to communicate that it like, well, I feel like the opposite of those things a lot of the time. Like I like I like the most you can say with the least amount of words is what I'm really focused on as a lyric writer, and I don't care about tempo. Like if it needs to be fast, it can be fast, or like if it needs to be like super slow, like that's cool too. But yeah, I mean those are just small things. I think like I'm less and maybe Brooke would fight back on this, I don't know, but I feel like I'm maybe a little bit less attached to like making a certain style of music or fitting into any style of music. And I think Brooke has an aesthetic ideal that she wants to accomplish musically that I think I don't concern myself with as much. But
which is why I love working with you. I love working with you because it pushes me to maybe make a more folk-oriented sound. I mean, I think just with the state of the world right now, I have a lot of, it's not necessarily rage, but I guess intensity, where I'm feeling things very fully, and sometimes wanting the music to be loud or a specific, or even say slow for that emphasis. But again, that's why I like working together, because we complement each other. And what I was talking about, the title of this upcoming project, End of the Beginning, when we were writing it, I think we felt a change and a growth from the first EP, and more of a harmonious like exploration when we write together. That the first one, it just felt different. It felt very, very nuanced, versus now we've kind of come into like a rhythm almost. And we're working on an album, like the first album.
Oh, that's exciting. It is very interesting. I never like really clocked this, but your guys' solo music is incredibly different on a sonic level. I don't know why that never I listened to both of it, so I don't know why that ever became like apparent to me. But like, I mean, just on a genre level, like your stuff's a lot heavier, Brooke, and your stuff's a lot lighter a lot of the time, and like more
even jazzy, like.
Even and it's, I don't know why that never like became apparent to me, but it does feel like this new project specifically, at least when I compare it to the last EP, one thing I was noting a lot was like the rhythm sections specifically are a lot busier and a lot bigger a lot of the time. Whereas like there's a lot more percussion on this project, a lot more like notable bass lines. And even the structures of some of these songs are a lot more direct. Like it feels more like a project that the songwriting is just it's way more immediate, I think, on this one opposed to the first EP. I was curious, like, as you went into this and you were doing some of the writing, some of the production, and it definitely takes on a bit of a, sonic growth for sure.
I agree.
Not in a quality way, just in a song way. But what do you think are the biggest differences between the first project and the second project? And what do you feel like are the biggest improvements that you guys made? And what are you most proud of on the second EP versus the first EP?
I think that the second EP, the one coming out, am I close enough?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right,
October 10th.
October 10th again. It's just like more straightforward. And I don't know. I feel like we just wanted to make it sound like a band a bit more. The first one kind of just sounds like exactly like it. Yeah. The first one might be a little bit more honest in certain ways, not from a songwriting standpoint, but just like from a sonic standpoint. Sure. It's like it's just us two in a room, not like we're not doing things
also
that we couldn't.
Also getting to know each other.
That's
when
true.
we wrote that EP, we were exploring our dynamic. We had just met each other. It was very fresh. And this EP, we came in, I think with more intention, and again, setting up sessions. Was Death Ring the first one we wrote for this? Yeah,
which I love. That song, I think is my favorite on the project. Just that guitar lick, just like that lead, just sticks with me so much. It's so fun.
But I think about the opening lyrics to that. It's "Hello Wednesday, beautiful untamed. Put on your French press, dissolve the day," and that was very much in the moment. We were sitting at his old place in Pasadena. It was a Wednesday. We were making coffee and we were about to write a song. And then, it kind of gets deeper and I'm like, I have a fear of marriage and like commitment. Let's talk about that in a song, but make it a little more convoluted with this idea of like a death ring or like a wedding ring, which I don't think is maybe obvious.
It wasn't for me, but that's really cool.
I think we do that on purpose. But that was kind of this original idea I had with the name Death Ring. And then, Pierce brought his perspective to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, that song is like, it's special. I think it probably has stuck with me more than the other ones a bit more. I just think it's like instrumentally, it comes from such an interesting place. And hearing that
Thank you.
perspective in the lyrics is really cool. and I didn't really catch that at all. And it is
lyrics are a little weird.
Yeah, they're really cool though. The way you write is very metaphorical, but it's not like it doesn't feel preachy. It feels very like you're talking about something and you just you don't really care if anybody knows what it is, but it's all it does feel direct in a way, which I think is really cool.
Trying to promote like some of the songs with very abstract lyrics.
Yeah.
And, like, what?
Yeah.
I recognize it after the fact. It's like writing it, I don't think about it, and then after when we're putting it out, I'm like, oh.
It's like, do I spill the
this
beans?
is kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a whole conversation about marketing or promoting or whatever.
Sure. So I know you guys met through Jeff originally, right? I was curious. I realized I don't think I know where either of you are from. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Cleveland.
From Cleveland?
Yeah.
I was a military brat, so I grew up
that's right. I remember
all
this now.
around.
Yeah.
But my mom is in Northern Virginia in Arlington, and I have my dad's family like in Ohio. And
Gotcha.
when I moved out to LA, I was like, I'm never dating an Ohio boy. Like I was very, I'm over it. I'm moving to Cali. And I met Pierce maybe a year after I moved to LA, and we just had an instant connection. And then later in the night, he's like, yeah, I'm from Ohio. I was like, oh my gosh.
What was your beef with the Ohioans?
My dad.
Oh, gotcha.
I think, I was trying to get away from but I think there can be amazing people come from any city or whatever. But I think I had, Ohio, my experience with it was like harder, so I just shut down. And,
sure, yeah.
But
The reason I ask is because I can remember where you were both from, and I remember you're both not from here. And my understanding is you moved here like kind of a similar like time frame, right? Like around a similar time.
Maybe 6 months after me moved.
Something like that.
Gotcha. It's like same year. I was curious, like, and I mean, you guys knowing each other, like, it sounds like for the majority of the time you've been here in LA, right? Do you feel like this place is kind of painted by We Shrunk in a different way than it is your solo music? Where does it kind of fit in your life and your view of LA in general? Like, does We Shrunk to you feel like an LA project? Because I would assume that your other two projects feel like a, wherever project and an Ohio project.
Yeah.
I came out to LA looking for collaborators, and all I really wanted was to find those people, because I think I was lacking that in, just very solitary musician. And then coming out here was opening up and looking for a producer, looking for a longtime collaborator, and I found that in Pierce. So it has totally shaped my LA experience, and also it's part of coming here and like my story.
Yeah, it's definitely an LA project.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever I do when I'm alone is like, it has like just roots in what I was listening to since I started getting into music.
Yeah.
Versus like, I mean, I didn't even like write songs consciously probably until I moved to LA. Like,
sure.
I would always just write words that I would just do it really quick so that people would actually listen to the song, like, because no one wants to listen to instrumental music for whatever reason. Some people do. I'm just saying, like, the whole point of singing,
you would write the lyrics to get the music.
The whole point of singing and like singing lyrics on songs was just so that it could be like a song and like people would take it seriously. So for me, like, because the way I write now has definitely evolved as a solo person, but it's not quite as intensively like the way we write together is definitely just like a product of my life here, and it would not have come up obviously because we wouldn't have met, but just like the way that we think about music when we're together is something that I probably would not have gotten if I was somewhere else.
Yeah, that's super interesting to me. If the way you just described it, that you think about songwriting is super interesting to me. Like where it's like you're almost only pinning the lyrics there so people recognize it as a song.
That's what I was doing. I feel like I've taken a liking to writing songs more consciously.
When did that change?
Probably in like the past couple years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple artists that I got into that changed my mind.
Like songwriting wise?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What did you, like when you moved to LA, what was your intention in music? Like, was it to be a producer?
Oh no, I had a band. Well, I have a band still.
Oh, so it was for Lonely Pirate Committee originally?
It's for Lonely Pirate Committee,
okay.
yeah. We're like not doing too much at the moment right now, but yeah, we moved out here because we met Jeff. He like reached out to us when we were living in Boston, and we visited him out here, and then he kind of like convinced us to move here. I'm glad I did. I like it. I like it here.
Hell yeah.
That was my intention moving here, and then I don't know, just kind of got into other things also.
Yeah, as one does. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You brought it up briefly before, but I did want to ask about some of the label stuff, and you guys releasing with a label for this project. What were the biggest contributions and differences that you kind of found releasing this non-independently for the first time, and how did that feel? Is this something you think you want to do in the future?
It's nice because the kind of setup we have is basically someone at Symbol Group Records took interest in Pierce's work and the project and just gave us like a little budget to help promote it, and again helping us with the cassette runs, which it's just like a financially really supportive, but we still are like independent and own all the music, so it's kind of a nice deal, but we're releasing the physical media through them, so I love it. There's literally no drawbacks at all.
I mean, it's just a cool guy who runs a record company, I think by himself or like maybe with a homie.
Where are they from?
I think from here.
Oh,
yeah.
How'd they find you?
Basically, I went to this show. What was the place called? The Symposium.
I was playing with Lang Bien.
Yeah,
I was playing violin at this venue like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I came to the show, and there were these crazy visuals going on that I was like, that's so cool.
In real time, adapting to the music.
And so he was using a visual synthesizer or something like that, and I didn't know what it was. So I went up to him after. I was like, "What is that?" And he said he was using God, what's it called? Like Luma. Fuck, I'm gonna forget.
Oh, the projection mapping fucking software.
Lumineer. Nah, it's not Lumineer.
The Lumineers.
You know what I mean?
The Lumineers.
No, I know what you're talking about too.
I'm gonna forget. Anyway,
it's like, damn.
Anyway,
the point.
He told me that, and I was like, "That's dope." And then we were just talking, and I think we were just talking about music. I was like, "I do music," and he was like, "Do you ever? If you ever want tapes done?" He's like, "I do it." For he's like, I do it for free. I'm like, you're shitting me. Like, no way.
And then we hit him up for the first EP.
And so we hit him up for the first EP, and he was down, but then like he was traveling around,
lost in translation,
around the world or whatever, and it kind of like we dropped off. But it was cool, and it was really cool because like 2 years later, he hit me up,
followed up,
being like, he was like, hey, sorry, we lost communication on this. Still love to work in the future if you want. And I'm like, that's awesome. So I just hit him up for this EP, and he was like, he loved it, and he was down to make the tapes and, you know, help us out a little bit.
What's his background in? Is it in like doing?
Dude, I don't know. I gotta meet this guy again. I haven't.
We're gonna meet up once the cassettes are finished.
Yeah, because we have a buddy, Alex, who
plays bass in my solo project.
Who knows Jesse, the Symbol Group guy, and Alex speaks very highly of him, and I think he's cool.
They put together a bill for Echo Park Rising this year.
Oh, sick.
Right before we were really in contact about this project. But yeah, it kind of happened last minute. It's great to have support, and I think one of our like primary goals is just like to get out on the road eventually and play the music. So anything that can kind of help us get there, we're looking to do right now.
Yeah, that's super interesting too. I had a question about that because it's always cool to me, and we talked about this in our first interview, Brooke, but just like when people have their hands in so many different pies. Like, that's the coolest thing ever to me, when it's like you're involved in like 4 or 5 different projects, you know, doing a varying degree of things, whether it's producing on something, playing in a band, or whatever it may be. But and not to ask you like where like We Shrunk ranks in that priority list, but I was curious about like the greater intention with this project versus your solo projects, or you know, like for you, Pierce, like this project versus the Pirate Committee, or versus like your production work or whatever. Do you have a different intention for this one? Is it the live aspect of it, or is it to just continue releasing? Is it like, is there any difference in what you want to accomplish with this project versus some of your other ones?
Who wants to start?
Yeah. Well,
I'm
that
taking that as you want to start.
The priority thing, the question that changes like monthly.
Sure.
Which one is the priority?
It's like cycling.
Very confusing sometimes.
I think we're like gonna have a conversation about that.
And I never know. But I do like making. Okay, so I like making music with Brooke, and she likes making music with me.
Yeah.
But like we said, like the music sounds a lot different than what we would do when we're alone. And like going back to what I said, like if I have an idea, typically I'm like, oh, I want this, I want to do everything on this, I want to make it fully exactly how it is. But you don't do that with a collaboration, and that's a beautiful thing too, to collaborate. But both of us don't make this kind of music that this is when we're alone. So it's hard. Like, I think that this project, but we do want to make music together though, and that's the big thing. So we do love making music with this project.
This project helps me get outside of my head and kind of back to the point of why I love music so much. I think with a solo project, it's easy to put a lot of weight on it, or just like in my mind, you know, that's kind of what's constantly spinning. But I can come to this project, put out, you know, like on release day, I'm having a great time. I think with my solo project, I'm still
terrified.
I'm more in my head. I'm more, it's more ego driven as much as I don't want it to be. But this project has enabled me to step back and remind myself why I love music and making music with people. And it's definitely a top priority. I think that it ebbs and flows, and both of us love contributing and just playing music with other people. But at the end of the day, I think for both of us, it's most fulfilling to be actively involved creatively in a project. Yeah. And for this one, it's really 50-50.
And also, like, what all of that is true. And also, you know, when you have 2 people that are going hard at something, it beats having one person going hard at something. So that's another reason why it's definitely like at the top or near the top.
Even
of the
getting
list,
a rehearsal together, or just sitting. It's way more fun to be like, let's just run our songs together versus sitting in my room running my songs by myself for a big practice. So yeah, after this we're gonna have a writing session, and then we have a band rehearsal for the project. So it's a big We Shrunk day.
It's a full day.
It's a full day of We Shrunk. Yeah, I interviewed. Well, I guess going off what you were saying, I think that more artists who have a very like committed solo project should have something else. I think like way more artists could benefit from having something outside of the normal realm of responsibility to like put creative energy into. I interviewed before you guys, just like last week, this band called Null. They're this, I don't even know what fucking genre to call them, like crazy, like breakbeat punk,
crazy music,
metal, like it's like some of it almost feels like hip hop production. Like it's weird. It's really weird. It's so cool though. But it's this band Null. It's a 3-piece, and it's made up by 3 members who are also in like bigger bands that are like kind of like the punk space. All of them in like different forms. But I was talking to them so much about how like their biggest intention with the project is just like fall back in love with making things that excite them. Because sometimes I think with your solo projects, or just like, you know, whatever the, you know, like this is my name on it, right? Whether it's Brooklyn or Pierce's, it's like that can get very like specific at a certain point. Like a certain point, you become an artist who makes a sound, and it can get very difficult, I think, especially if you found success at a certain level, to back away from that sound, whether from a branding perspective or a perspective of like fear, what people know you for, whatever the reason be. I think it can be very difficult to go and explore things and be in a true state of exploration when you're already under the name of somebody who's put out music that kind of aligned within a certain category prior. Do you feel like with We Shrunk you can be more explorative, even though it is, you know, it has a genre and both the projects exist in the same sonic universe? Do you feel like less pressure to be explorative with this project?
I don't feel a pressure to not be explorative. Is that explorative?
Explorative. I think there's something else there. There's another word
I don't
there.
find the pressure of to not explore to be weighing down on me very often in any project. I think that even if you're in a band and you find success, that band's going to have a sound, and if you want to break it, you should. And you know, either that's going to happen regardless. So like, I'll have a project and I'll do whatever the hell I want with it, and then we'll have a project together, and hopefully we'll be able to do whatever the hell we want with it.
The songwriting is a big thing for this project with me. Basil in the background.
Basil drop.
I think I am much more intentional about the songwriting versus like my solo music. It'll come almost in a dream or like a trance state, and I don't really change it or try and push it. I'm just like, that's the song. And this project, because we're actively writing together, we'll talk about a concept or we'll come up with a chord progression, and then we'll go off and write separately, and we'll share, and then we'll kind of put the pieces together.
Oh wait, that's interesting. So you said, wait, break that down for me one more time. You said you'll come with like an idea, you guys will both work on it, you'll separate again and then go back. Is it that specific every time, or does it vary in terms of process?
It's pretty close to that, because we're writing an album right now, and our intention with the album is to just write the songs, not record them while we're writing them, which is very much normally Pierce's state. He likes to produce immediately when recording, but because we want this more live aspect and to incorporate band members, and then produce them, we want to really focus on the writing, the song aspect, the main like integrity of like the two guitar parts and the words and the melodies and harmonies, and then get all that together. So for this project, I would say it's like for the new album that we're working on, that's how we're approaching it. Because every time we plan to have a songwriting session, we end up writing something we like. So it's often just finding the time and space and sitting down and doing it. I don't think there's been a single session we haven't gotten something out of when we, sit down with that intention.
Yeah, interesting. So it is like the kind of thing where like, will you session this? Because obviously I want to ask about this too, because it's interesting. Obviously there's like a different dynamic with you guys because you're dating. So it's like, you guys are together a ton, just like for, like you're in a band and you're dating, there's a lot of crossover there. What, like how do you separate those times? Is that ever hard to maintain a good consistent work-life balance if like music is what you're trying to do as a career and you guys are also dating, or is it so fun for you that it's just like fuck it, whatever? I
mean, we took a year break from this project because I think our goals were different at the time, and I was like, I wanted to go really hard in music, and maybe Pierce was like exploring or working on his solo music, and so I realized I can always pivot that onto my solo music, and then it kind of cyclically came back where it's like, oh, we're gonna put this music out and we should play again, and you guys hit us up to play, and that was our first show in like a year, which some people don't play that much, but we love playing, and so it had been a big break for us. And then we were able to come back. But I think, like I was saying, for this project, we do like to have the intention of we're going to have a We Shrunk session, because we do spend a lot of time together. And if we don't plan it out, I don't think it gets done.
Sure.
Because we,
Yeah,
we usually just are like, we have to plan it.
Thursdays are good for us.
Yeah, right now the day is Thursday.
We're both like partially employed, so we have a bit flexible. You're more employed than me.
Thursday is We Shrunk Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there I was curious too, like, so the project is 5 songs. It's like 15, 16 minutes long, right? Was there a moment in the writing process of this one where you found something that you think really informed the sonic differences between the first project and this one? Because I mean, I would love to hear your guys' take on like what you think are the biggest differences between the two. In my ears, I'm sure you have a different perspective because you made it, but to my ears, like a lot of it was the rhythm section stuff. I feel like there's a lot of busier drum parts, busier bass lines on this project, whereas the last one was very almost like chamber driven at times, where like
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, where like there's there's a lot of woodwinds on it, there's some strings on it, and then like the vocals, whether either you guys singing on it, it's very light, fluttery almost. This one feels a bit more direct in a songwriting lens. But I was curious, what do you think are the biggest differences between the two projects, and of those differences, what are you most proud of on this one versus the first one?
I mean, the biggest difference, you kind of nailed it, is like the bass and drums are going off, and they're heavier, they're louder. There's actual there was like, I don't think there was like hardly any actual drums on the
very
last
few,
project. Because I think like once we started recording and like then we came up with the name. We're like, well, we should just make it sound small or whatever. And so that's how the first EP sounds.
That's an interesting way of putting it. It sounds small,
and lo-fi. I mean,
and it's super lo-fi too. The first one, intentionally, we're just using like just really bad mics. Like they're like these mics that come with like a reel-to-reel.
A what?
A reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Oh.
And so these mics, they plug in and they're like tiny little boxes, and you sing into like a walkie-talkie or whatever. And so like I don't think there's anything not recorded on one of those mics. This one, I'm like 5 mics on the drum kit, and like a lot of more production stuff, and a lot of like more lush arrangements and a bunch of more instruments and everything.
The last song on the track, which isn't out yet, it's called EOD, which the acronym is like end of the day. You know, it's that byline. At the end of the day, we need this in work. And I kind of wrote it when I lost a job, not the job I just lost, but a job I lost like 2 years ago.
End of day.
Yeah. And by EOD.
God, I hate email speak,
right?
Bro.
Exactly.
I need this by end to just shut the fuck up.
Touching on it. But I feel like that song kind of, it has all these nods and references to the first EP, like this one, and that's why it's called The End of the Beginning, because we're coming into this new phase, and it's getting, there's more full instrumentation with the drums and the bass, but it's still connected inherently, I think, to that music. And for me, that song lyrically and just the softness of it kind of references like that first EP.
Yeah, I was thinking about that song. It really feels like the closer, and it sounds like you wrote it with the intention for it to be the closer. And I want to circle back to like just moments on the project you're the most proud of, but about that song, like, do you usually write with track listing in mind? Because that's a pretty interesting thing. I think like a lot of artists don't do that. Like, did you write that song? You're like, this is the closer, because at least instrumentally, it's the only song on there that feels like it could fit on the last project, I think.
Yeah.
I think about no is the answer, but I do think about opening and closing tracks.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think I think about the middle. That usually changes all the time, and like it just. We
definitely finalize like a track list after we've written everything, but I usually have these grand like plans or visions, and then hopefully I'm like, Pierce will get on board. But I think EOD was a statement that it makes sense to be a last track, but to me it felt a closing of the beginning, the end of the beginning. And for me, a lot of that references, this is the first time in my life I'm pretty much fully pursuing music in a scary way, where I don't have a normal like 9-to-5 job. Sure. And jumping into that, it's a very new territory for me. And Pierce has always been of this mentality. He's like a walking, breathing musician since he was 3. And I guess I played music for a long time and started on violin when I was like 10, but I've never embodied it like I am now, and that's all thanks to people like Pierce in my life who have opened me up and shown me that it's possible, even if there's not a lot of money in it, or it's really scary, or there's a lot of things. Yeah, it's just like I can fully say I'm pursuing my dreams and like living my best life right now, even though it's hard. Yeah. Which I couldn't say for myself maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth, and I totally feel you both. I think in being both those different places in your life, I've kind of always been more in the camp of like going fully all into it, but it's like I've worked day jobs my entire life, so like I totally feel you that in that regard.
Because it is a mentality.
It's
You're right.
Entirely a mentality for sure, and I will say, like, I've always worked day jobs, and I know you work day job right now too. But it's like my brain's never been in them. Like my brain has always been in what I've been doing musically. Like that's kind of been the case for me from the beginning. That's interesting that you bring that up though, Brooke. I'm curious, like, because I remember when we did the first interview, because it was right when Trump got elected, right? Yeah. So you just got laid off from your government job, right? Yes. How is it like? Sorry to put you on blast. Sorry, I'm going to do that. But, no,
I wear it proudly.
Okay,
it was
cool.
One of the biggest blessings of my life. I don't know. Yeah, what were you going to ask specifically?
I was curious, being in it now, because I mean, like how I thought about everything that I do creatively, like fully changed for the 2 years that I did it full time. I'm not doing it full time anymore, but the 2 years that I thought about it entirely differently. I was curious, like you not being in that job anymore, and like so much more of your life being in music, so much more of your thought and the way that you're just living your day-to-day life being involved with music now. How has that changed the way that you write songs, if anything at all? Or even like, I suppose a better question is, how has it changed the way that you think about music?
Yeah, I think it's so much easier to show up for myself in a way that doesn't feel mechanic, that feels like,
exactly
like I'm exhausted after work and I need to go and practice, or I need to go and play guitar, but it's almost forced because I'm tired or whatever. I have this opening to just explore more, and I'm a really go person, so having patience, slowing down to see the beauty. Like I do think artists need experience to write about stuff, but even also just silence and the space of sitting and observing. I was definitely burning out at my old job, and I will have to get another job eventually, but I'm gonna ride on this as long as I can right now. And I have been more scrappy, just like showing up, recording violin maybe for people, or playing bass off, and because I have time to do that right now. But I'm working on a solo EP right now that I'm going to try and live track, and I'm able to do that and put out this EP and write with Pierce. Like it's just really full, where my days consist of sessions in the daytime, which is really nice, you know?
Not like at like 9 o'clock when you get off and you're exhausted. It's so interesting because I totally feel you, but I've been thinking about the reverse a lot recently, actually, because like I was full-time music for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then I just recently had to get a day job again. And it's so interesting because how I always described it, and I still feel this way, but like it was like when I was able to do music stuff full-time, I felt like I was able to like take a step back and look at problems that I was facing musically, or like with Above the Bridge, and just like look at those things and then like just honestly analyze the problems and solve them in a creative and intelligent way. Whereas when I was working a day job 8 hours a day, I was ramming my head into a wall, and I just felt like I was trying to ram it hard enough to where it would break. Now though that I'm back like working a day job, it is interesting, and I'm remembering a bit about like how it feels to do both. And I will say, I think there's a hunger that comes with working a day job and being in art that I really did not feel when I was doing it full time. There's a really specific like hunger that comes in, like I don't know, like it just like it burns a little bit in a good way, where it's like, fuck, I gotta work 8 hours today, so I only have 6 hours to work on what I actually give a shit about.
Totally.
So it's like I really gotta think about this in a more calculated manner.
I think that I think a service job or something, a service job or like manual labor is the best job for an artist to have. 100%. And I do think, like, I think that a desk job or like a remote job would be the worst job for an artist to have, especially working from home. I think that what I've learned from having day jobs, like I was doing music full time for like 2 years or something like that, like producing mainly. And I was like pretty exhausted creatively from doing that.
Because you had to take choices based on paying rent, right? Like with music.
I've heard that from a lot of
It was like, you know, I would be working with, you know, I like the artists I was working with a lot of the time, but it would just be like I spent like 8 hours today using my creativeness super hard for something else that I'm probably not as passionate about as whatever.
This project got put on the back burner, like at the time.
Like my project I wasn't doing anything for myself. Like, anyway, that's kind of besides the point. I think that it's like kind of a responsibility as an artist to like, no matter if you have a day job or not, you are a full-time artist.
Yes.
You know, like, so if you're at work, like I work at a coffee shop, and everything I do at the coffee shop, if I have to like be fully informed by what's going on to help me make music, you know?
Yeah.
I can't be like wishing I was somewhere else at the job. That's gonna put a lot of pressure on on myself, and like, oh, when I get home I better make like the coolest thing ever. Like I feel like I need to be fully at the job and fully off the job when I'm not. And
because I don't dog walk in the morning, but because I don't have this job, I do have the newfound hustle of like showing up on social media more, which I just because I have the time, I'm like, well, I'm trying to step into this like role of like what this looks like, so it's easier for me in that space. And then also I think just to have more energy to like play and write on top of that. But that is like the one thing I've noticed is I kind of have that. I'm like, well, you don't have a job, so
sure,
you know, why don't you just
that little
talk
person
about your music
in the back of your head?
Damn, which is new.
I will say though, it is really like, I totally resonate with the 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing and how difficult that can be. Like I agree. That's kind of the nice thing about a restaurant job, in my opinion, is like you clock out and you're done, you know? Whereas like if you have like a remote job or something, you know, I'm sure it's hard to like say balance
you're
on
never
everything.
off.
Yeah,
and
you're never really
like,
off. Yeah.
I know people with remote jobs that they have to be ready to do anything at any point, but there's a lot of days where they actually don't have to do anything. Yeah. So they're just waiting all day, not actually getting deep into anything else, because they need to be on call to like switch modes back to work mode, you know? Yeah. So it's like either they're sitting from 9 to 5 all day doing nothing, or they're half doing their creative pursuits all day while waiting to be called to the computer. Yeah. And that's just a nightmare. Like I'd rather go in, make coffee for nice people and have interesting conversations and just like
do you get coffee for free all the time? Like do you go on your days off all the time?
I go every day.
I also like to go and visit him at work, a major perk. But I will go and grab a coffee from Pierce and write and read after my dog walk.
And luckily, like I love the place I work. Like I love my job. It's super nice to work there. And my boss or like my manager is like a homie of mine before I ever started working there. And everyone who works there has some kind of creative thing on the side.
Izzy, who just did our last music video, also started working there. Yeah. So we've got a whole
so
family.
Sick.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really love that video. The colors in it are really cool. Yeah. It has these really cool like warm tones to it.
Fletcher colored it.
Oh, wow.
But that was my first like co-directing and editing like a more high production quality video. So
how'd that
really
feel?
Fun. It was awesome. I mean, we had hiccups. We got kicked out of our first location. We were shooting in a park, and they were like, "You don't have a permit." We're like, "Okay, we just need a pivot."
They kicked you out of a public park. They kicked you out of?
Yeah.
Bro, I just would have went to the other side of the park.
I know.
Fuck
right?
that.
Well, the problem is that we had a drum set and amps.
The issue was we had everything set up, but it's okay. We will live that dream one day.
Yeah.
But
so we took a 180. We went to Fletcher's backyard,
which kind of looks like a junkyard.
He's kind of got like respectfully,
it's a junkyard,
respectfully,
like purposefully. I mean,
well, it's just a workshop kind of vibe. Like
and Sugar Pit does a lot of his like
it's that
art
place?
and stuff. Yeah, so he lives there too.
Yeah.
So we're filming the video, and then his like high heeled like nail shoes are like in the background hanging and. It was kind of a perfect setting, actually.
Damn. It was fun, yeah.
No, yeah, it looked sick. It definitely had like a little like junkyard vibe to it. The that's I did just real quick want to point out that thing that you said about like when you're working remote and not being able to like fully get into something. I think it's very real. I've always felt like the most creative I ever get is when like I can fully lock everything else out, get off my phone, and like literally get in the state of like I've been thinking about this and only this, and there's no one else here, and I'm alone for the past 45 minutes. In my opinion, I don't know if I should have crazy ADHD, but like that's when I get the most focused and like can really get into something.
Yeah.
Once I've been doing it like consistently for like a solid 30-40 minutes and like haven't looked at anything else. And I think that's where the best stuff comes for me. It's one of the only times where I can like fully think through something, whether I'm writing, you know, or like writing, you know, doing prep for an interview or whatever it is. It feels like I need that time to inch into stuff. So that, I think, will be the most difficult thing about having a job where you're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out at all times.
Same.
I can be present now in sessions so much more than I was because I had to be. I'll have my phone on me.
Oh, yeah.
So,
right.
oh
like,
gosh, it's so nice.
Inversely, when I'm working my day job, sometimes I'm the most inspired.
I feel that, yeah.
By just, you know, if it's slow or if someone comes in and we talk, I'm like, that's interesting. And it just gives me thinking. Or like, I'm just thinking about stuff. It's not like, oh, I want to leave right now. But it's sometimes I'm like, this is a cool moment. And I'm just having a good time.
I can get really in my head when I'm working in a way that I can't when I'm at home sometimes. There's so many distractions away.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, because you're doing manual stuff on autopilot, your mind isn't actually that preoccupied with other things.
It's like driving. Like,
exactly.
I found
It's
some
like
of my
driving.
favorite lyrics or melodies when I'm driving and I have to like record a voice memo or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your body's occupied with something, but your mind is entirely blank.
Your eyes are
because you're not thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like so rapidly moving and you're processing things that it allows you to almost like, you know, tripping. It allows you to be that idea of being in a different place or you know, experiencing a different reality than you know, typically just like sitting. Sedentary.
It's interesting because I've worked in restaurants for like a very, very long time, and like past like 3 restaurants I worked in, I was a server. I've always been serving, but now I work at like a Michelin star place. So I'm a busser because the people who serve there, they're like career, they're like lifers. Yeah, they make like $150,000 a year. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But now that I'm bussing again, like bussing tables, I remembered how like just autopilot that is. And sometimes like I can get really deep in my head about stuff, and I kind of love it.
It's great.
Like lately I've been more intentional about it, where I've been like writing things down. I'm like, at work I really want to think through this, and it's nice because a lot of the time I can just like bus tables for 20 minutes without anybody talking to me, and I'm just like on autopilot doing it, and it feels great to get that deep into kind of like mental flow state, and it's made me think about the fact that I don't do that enough. Like I don't like sit down with the intention to just sit here and think very often, which is kind of something I think we all should do a little bit more.
Starting my day dog walking allows me like
can you pivot it? So
yes,
perfect. Thank you
I
so
was
much.
just saying I love starting my day dog walking and animal care because it is very supportive of like this lifestyle and writing. So it gets me in that state as well.
Right, Basil?
Right, Basil? she wanted to come up and be part of the interview.
I did want to, so I pointed this out earlier too, but Death Ring I think is probably my favorite song in the project. I really love it. That guitar lead really sticks with me. Like it's been reverberating in my head since I heard it. I remember you played it live at the show with you guys, and it hit me then, and it definitely still hits me now. But I was curious, that song feels very live the way it's recorded, and I was the last project feels live as well, but in a very different way. Like there's a lot more of a band dynamic on this second EP, I feel like. Have you guys pivoted the way? I know you said you added more of a like revolving band dynamic to this, but how has the way that you play We Shrunk shows live changed between the 2 EPs? Do you think playing these songs is going to be dramatically different than playing the original songs?
Yeah, because there's actual drum and bass parts that they can learn. It'll probably sound more like the record.
Yeah.
I think even our first drummer, Eric,
Kiefer was our first drummer.
Yeah, Kiefer.
Yeah.
But Eric, I feel like inspired just us to incorporate drums because it felt so good playing a more fully.
Right. I think that like we kind of figured out what the role of the drums was with Eric. Just because, I don't know, we played some of our like some shows that we thought were like more important or whatever, so we practiced more and we just got more into the groove, I guess. I think
like, I don't know, there's this dynamic that I think comes with the bass and the drums, where everything just, it feels a lot more direct. Where on the last project, I think it was a little like it's still very, very beautiful, but it was lush in a very different way. Where a lot of it was like, I think chamber is like what keeps coming to my head.
That's a good word.
It was just a lot more fragile, I feel like. Whereas some of these songs don't feel as fragile. I feel like they hit you a bit quicker and a bit more and a bit sooner. I don't know. Like, has your guys's I suppose, like, the way that this project sounds in comparison to the last project, and there being some more direct instrumentation on it, was that a conscious thing you came into the project with, or when did that become apparent that that was going to be a big difference in this one? And I was curious, was there a song that informed a lot of the sonics of this project? What was the first one that came, and when you wrote that, did that inform you of a new direction?
I think so. I mean, I think like what I was saying a while back was like, I think one thing that Brooke values very heavily is like being in a band.
Sure.
And so a band has usually bass and drums. And it was kind of like, that was like one of the driving things, being like, well, maybe let's just make it sound like a band versus like some twee kids making chill chamber folk music.
It was still Pierce, playing and recording those parts, but we're not sure how we're going to record the next album.
But it was Death Ring, though, was the first song that we recorded. And it was fun to record.
How far along is the album?
We just have we have 6 songs written.
Damn, you guys are moving.
Yeah. Like I said, when we show up to write, it's very inspiring. We usually write, but it's finding the time.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know, if you want to make music, you gotta make it. You can't, like, I don't know. I find a dry, like I can't not make stuff. So making, I feel like we haven't made enough, honestly, in the amount of time that we've been trying to write.
I think on camera right now we have 1 session a week until we finish the album.
Okay, we're putting it on
you're
camera
holding
now.
yourself to it right now. Now you gotta do it.
Yes,
we can do that.
Future Brooke watching this.
I think the way you pointed it out earlier, where you were saying that, like, whether or not you're a full-time artist, you have to treat yourself like a full-time artist. I think that's very, very true. I reference this book so much, it's almost annoying at this point. But there's a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's a really interesting book. Like, it's obviously a play on the art of war. But it kind of, like, one thing it talks about a lot is the concept of treating yourself as a professional when you're an artist. And I think a lot of artists lose that. And I think there's a lot of legitimacy to having some resemblance of a consistent schedule, having some resemblance of, like, these are the things I'm going to do at work. And it doesn't have to feel like work, but it's like, I think sometimes those things can be very pro the creative process, whereas I feel like a lot of times in a lot of media, artists are depicted in this light where it's like this lifestyle is supposed to be so non-structured and supposed to be so spontaneous and have absolutely no norms to it. But I think there's a lot of legitimacy that comes to kind of treating your creativity and your job, or your artistry rather, as a job, as a 9 to 5, as the kind of thing where it's like, all right, like, I'm here, I'm gonna do this today, after 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever, I'm done. I think that can really help people, like, put new parameters on what they want to do.
But I think that on top of that, you probably have to be the kind of person who would enjoy making music for 9 hours.
There's a balance,
Because if you don't, you're gonna hate making music after a week.
Having the structure for me is helpful, just because I love making music. But for example, sometimes I could just freestyle for 20 minutes and like I'm done for the day. So I like having a structure or a challenge even sometimes. Like Pierce and I, we just worked on a remix for one of our friends' songs coming out next year. I don't think we can say yet, but we're really excited for that to come out. And that was a fun almost prompt for us to have a session where the song was already written. Pierce actually produced it. We just got to rework it. We added strings. We stripped it down a bit, and then we sang over with our friends' vocals, and that was really fun to have almost a structure, like an assignment type of thing, or at least in my brain.
That was fun.
It was really nice, and that was the last session we had last week. So.
Yeah, it's cool that you guys are like so intentional with the session stuff. I think that makes a lot of sense because I feel
because we're together.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you weren't in a relationship, it'd probably be very, like I imagine you got to be like, okay, like today we're not just hanging out. Today we're musicking.
Yeah. For sure.
And because we both are very ambitious with like having multiple projects, it's just we have to set time for stuff, or I don't think it will come to fruition. So
yeah. Cool. I think the last thing I wanted to ask you, if there's one thing that you hope people could get out of this project, whether it's a thing that you put into the music or a thing that they get from listening to it, you guys can each go. What do you think that thing would be?
So I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is the track Simplicity and what that stands for.
Sure.
I think finding joy in the little things and community and trying to simplify. I mean, we are constantly bombarded with so many distracting things, with advertisements, with like news constantly, with this, I mean, just the mass amount of even music being put out, and kind of coming back to the root of things. We were talking also earlier about how some artists will do a new project just to get back into the love of music.
Sure.
And I think that this project is very much about love and just that grander feeling, like universal love, but also minimizing the ego and finding joy in the simple things in life, because at the end of the day, that's what we come to.
EOD.
EOD.
Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna top that. That's pretty good. That's pretty accurate. I just want it to be something that is somewhat, well, I wanted to, this is a really hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever think about this.
It's tough.
I will say a lot of my family friends really like this project maybe more than my solo music, because it does have this like maybe lighter quality and more family friendly oriented thing. So
this is Brooklyn PG.
Yeah, PG, exactly.
I mean, it seems like a cop out, but I kind of just want them to get what they need out of it.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it's not like I'm not gonna say you need to get this out of it.
Yeah.
Like, but I want them to get whatever they need out of it.
Yeah.
That's I guess what I have to say.
Lastly, so I've just noticed now, every project I pretty much put out has been around the concept of time. Even this one, the end of the beginning.
Yeah.
First EP, Time to Go. Second one, Going, Gone. This one, End of the Beginning. Thinking about those transitions in life that can open yourself up to a beautiful new start.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we see an end, we see the sadness or the grief that comes with moving on, but the amazing openness that a new beginning can provide, whatever that is. And we're entering that phase now with new music and just life, so it's beautiful.
You're good at
beautiful.
I did go to school for communication.
Yeah.
You start a podcast, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start a podcast.
We should. Damn.
Wow.
Hey, bro, we should start a podcast. Bro. We shrunk.
To.
The tiniest band in Los Angeles. Thank you guys for doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Dante.
Thank you, Dante.
Yeah, I really I love the project.
Basil, say bye.
Bye, Basil.
She's hiding.
I'm very excited for people to hear it. It's a really cool batch of songs. I think it brings your guys' sound in a really cool direction, and I can't wait for folks to hear it. But tell them where they could stream it when it comes out. You have an EP release show as well. Let them know where they can follow you, listen, everything.
We Shrunk on all social media at We Shrunk. We are all on all streaming platforms. Bandcamp would be the number one way to support really any artist right now, or buying physical copies. We're playing at LAX with Charlie Havenick and
LA. Oh wait,
LA, not the airport.
Not the airport, and Plum.
I knew that. I just want to put it there. Yeah.
But it's a new
house,
cool
right?
space. It's like a gallery mixed with a stage room.
Okay.
So they have like exhibits and. Yeah, it's a new space, and we're excited to play.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love new spaces, man.
And then we have one more show around Halloween, October 29th, at Old Town Pub in Pasadena.
Yes.
Which we're announcing
Underrated
shortly.
Spot.
Haven't played, but
spot.
it's a fun time. So I think we'll have a good one.
thank you guys for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Above the Bridge.
Yes.
Let's go. All right. Music matters.